So tonight, I'm coming from the West Tampa Community Development Corporation. This is a little bit of information about West Tampa. West Tampa is located in Tampa, Florida. In the area of West Tampa, 18% of residents are Black or African Americans. 22% of the residents live below the poverty level. This information is coming from city-data.com. Tonight, I'm introducing a resident from West Tampa that has a story to tell. A story to tell of the fear of possibly losing her house. Hear her story and how near the end of the story, her grandson comforts her as she breaks into tears about the fear of losing her house. My name is Michael Randolph, and I'm coming here today on part of the West Tampa CDC. West Tampa CDC is a nonprofit development corporation located in West Tampa. Today, we have a special guest that we want to share her story with the rest of the community. But before we share her story, what brings her here today, I want to ask her a couple questions. Let's start off by telling us, what is your name?
My name is Tara Thompson.
And Tara, how long have you lived in West Tampa?
Pretty much all my life. Pretty much, I would say.
And what are the changes that you've seen, good and bad, in West Tampa over the last 10 years?
Oh my God. What I've seen good is some of the neighborhood is picking up. We have people that have moved into our neighborhood. There's been some good things as far as the streets and whatnot. It seems to be cleaned up a little bit more. What I don't like, or the bad part about it though, is the fact that there's been so much redevelopment that it's kind of not working for the benefit of those who live there. Some things have been going on that we have to question. I see a lot of.
So this to jump in, she talked about the redevelopment that's going on in West Tampa. Earlier, I talked about the West Tampa, at least the most recent data in 2021 represented 18% of the 18% of the West Tampa community. I want you to take note that if you look 10 years ago, that number was twice as many people that live in West Tampa. So there is a fear that gentrification can wipe out the African American population in West Tampa based on what's left. This data is based on 2021. 18% of the 18% of West Tampa consists of African American residents compared to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So gentrification is alive and well in West Tampa. And as part of our strategy, part of our vision is to make sure we reduce the effect of gentrification on purpose and intention.
Other people in our neighborhood. Not necessarily saying it's a bad thing, but it can be when people are working on things and not letting the people that actually live there know about it. Um,
Just let me jump in with one quick question,
mhm,
because this is what I'm getting from residents around West Tampa that's been around. One of the fears they have, and you touched on it, is the fear of gentrification. The fear that a lot of people that they grew up with uh,
mhm.
are leaving the community and not by choice. Is that they being priced out of the community because of new development that's going on.
Yes,
Is that your perspective?
yes, it is. I see a lot of that. As a matter of fact, um, just a couple of days ago, I happened to be looking down the street like I always try to look around my neighborhood. And across Cypress, there's a little green and white house on the corner. And I know there used to be a little old lady that stayed there. But I saw like a truck and a couple of gentlemen getting out the truck. And, I just kept looking for a hot minute. And then I decided to go down and see what it was all about. And I said, "Excuse me, but what's going on?" And nobody said anything to me. They just kind of like ignored me. So I said, "Okay." So they moved from her house to the house next door. And so they started knocking on the door. I said, "I'm sorry, but they may not be there because I know that they work." So one gentleman came down and he came on to the porch and he was talking to me. And he said, "Well, this lady has decided to sell her home." And I said, "What do you mean sell her home? She's look like she's been here forever." And he said, "Well, nothing I can do about it, but she's decided to sell her home." And I said, "Well, who are you?" He said, "I'm just a marketing person." And I looked and I said, "Well, if she sold her home, I'm pretty sure you didn't give her what the home or land might be actually worth, because in my perspective, our people don't necessarily know that that little money they're getting is not necessarily enough to live on forever.
Would
Um,
you would you would you say they have been aggressive in terms of
yeah,
trying to
I
get
think so.
residents to sell their home? And give us one example of how they've been aggressive with you in particular related to selling your home. And then let's talk about the current problem that we want to discuss related to your house.
I constantly get ever since I've had this house, change over to my name. I have constantly received phone calls, letters, people telling me, "Hey, we found your property on such and such website or whatever, and we want to know if you want to sell your house." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to sell my house." And this is like on a daily thing now. It's getting worse. I've actually had people come by, always as far as St. Pete, Clearwater area, literally come by, get out the truck. "You want to sell your house?" "No, I don't want to sell my house." "We can offer you that." "No, I don't want that either." And or sometimes they'll send me a notice that says, "We're sorry for your loss." I'm like, "Sorry for my loss? Who died?" you know um I get it all the time, and it's becoming a nuisance. "Or we can offer you a
And
fair deal." "Well, what's your fair deal?" "Oh, 300. No, that is not a fair deal. I actually had one gentleman tell me one day, he offered me about the same. I said, "Let me tell you something. Unless your deal is way over 500,000, we ain't got no type of deal." "Oh, you've been doing your homework?" "Yes, I have. I'm always doing my homework. I know what the going rate of a house is today. What you're trying to give me won't even buy a condominium."
so let me jump
So,
in real quick because I'm glad you brought that out. And what is a major problem in West Tampa? Residents are selling their houses for a penny on the dollars, not realizing what it costs to buy a new house. So let's say, and I can give you one example. We had a person that come into the CDC way back when our office was on Howard Avenue. And the guy who came to the office, he was working part time, and he was saying how happy he was that he had just sold his house for $50,000. And I said, well, do you understand the value of your house when you sold that house? Did you know you can get 3, 5 times that amount? So he said, no, I'm good. 50,000, right?
Oh my
6
gosh.
months later, he came back and all his money was gone and he had no house. He didn't understand the value of his house. We got a campaign now going on in West Tampa in which we want to educate folks not to sell their house. But look, I talked enough about that. I do know that one of your concerns is that you own real estate, and real estate is wealth. However, you've been having some issues with your roof. Share with us what those issues are.
Well, because of the last few storms, the roof developed a hole and it started leaking, of course. I went out and found somebody that could patch up my roof. So they came at first and they patched and everything, and it seemed to be going just fine. But there was one area that the person missed. And so therefore it kept leaking. So I inquired again, found somebody else who came over and talked to my roof. Now we've had a couple of major storms, some small storms in this last this last year and a couple months. And so the tarp that I currently have on the roof has begun to fray. I learned that that tarp that was put on there wasn't a brand new tarp. It was a used tarp. So I said, okay, so it's been fraying in the wind. And of recent, there was a notification on my column at my house. The city had came by and left me a note saying that the entire roof had to be fixed. It could no longer be tarped. Now, prior to that notification, I had tried to seek assistance from the city of Tampa just the end of last year, in which at that time they were requiring you to get 3 estimates for the roof, 3 different contractors, and something else, and your income, and you submit all that paperwork in. I managed to get part of that paperwork in, but I got a little distracted because I had something else going on. So when I went back to try and inquire about it again, I learned that they were no longer doing the roof in the way that they were, which was to come in and do your roof, and you don't have to worry about it other than living there. Now you had to pay the money all up front and wait for reimbursement. So I said, "There's no way I can do that. I don't have a way to do that."
So
So
you can actually lose your house
yeah,
because of
I
code
can.
enforcement.
Yep,
If you're not, you can lose your house if you don't fix that roof.
right, because they're gonna
That's
levy
another way of
fines.
what we call gentrification, getting a person out of
Hmm.
the community.
Right,
Here's a situation with an individual that owns a house, wants to keep the house, and she doesn't make a lot of money. Is that right?
that's correct.
Which means that she's income limited and getting the money necessary to qualify for the reimbursement. Which agencies have you been in contact with?
Oh gosh. Um, well, of course, the city of Tampa. I
Now,
have a
which
couple.
departments in the city of Tampa have you been in contact with?
I believe it's called it's a redevelopment area. Um,
Okay. Is it the
Jesus used to be over.
CRA, Community Reinvestment Area?
I believe so. Downtown, we used to have a gentleman by the name of Jesus used to be over it,
Okay, yeah,
and
that's the community. That's the CRA. As a matter of fact, just to let you know, this video is going to be going to government officials. It's going to be going to political figures. It's going to be going to everybody to get you some help. Now, what is your email?
my
How can
email
someone
is
get in contact with you by way of your email? Because trust me, once this hits everybody, and we're talking about we're going to be sending it to local, state, county, and federal officials related to the government. We're going to be sending it to other groups that work with groups like yourself in order to get your group fixed? But give us an email.
It's Anubis, A as in apple, N as in Nancy, U as an umbrella, B as in boy, IS 1616 at gmail.com. Anubis1616 at gmail.com.
And if you don't get help, you can lose your house. Is that correct?
I'm pretty sure because they're gonna start throwing fines on it, and you only have so many days. It's literally the 20th or 22nd was supposed to be really start something on it or work on it, and I had somebody trying to get lined up because the guy who I had to try and come out and do the roof to give me an estimate, he had a really good estimate. He told me it was 14,000 and something to do the roof. But again, I have to come up with at least half of it just for him to even get started. So, and that's pretty hard to raise in the fact that I've had to do a couple of other things that definitely have pinched into any kind of money in situations. It's just a lot. I just feel right now, I just feel a lot of pressure because this house has
Well,
been in my
we're
family
going
for a
to
number of
be, in
years.
addition to sending this to those officials on local, state level related to government, we're going to be sending it to other folks. But more importantly, we're going to be your advocate as the West Tampa CDC in order to work with you until you get that roof on your house. Because at the end of the day, gentrification is alive and well in West Tampa. It's not only because people are being priced out because they can't afford the rent, but people are also being priced out because of code violations and not having to be able to have the money in order to fix their roof, and they could lose their house. So I'm going to be sending this out to all of the different individuals that can help you from, again, all branches of government, state, local, and federal government as well. And I'm also going to be sending it out to everybody in West Tampa. Right now, we have a list of probably about 1,200 connects to West Tampa that have done some type of business with us. I'm going to send that to each and every one that's part of our list. We also will be going to city council to talk to them about your case as well and see what they can do to help you, as well as some other things we're going to be doing in the background. Let me ask you a question. What do you feel? Do you feel safe in West Ham?
Hmm. Huh. I do at some points. I do. Sometimes I do. But like I said, sometimes you see some elements, some different things that are happening. And it makes you kind of question whether or not it's going to be okay. With all the changes that's happening, um, I'm kind of like almost in between. It's my neighborhood. It's where I grew up at.
So how long have you lived in West Tampa?
I, like I said, pretty much I grew up in West Tampa from a kid, and
So is
I've
that
watched.
30 years, 40 years? How many years?
Oh goodness, in between me being married and moving to Louisiana back, I would say probably a good 30 years or so.
30
Uh,
years. That's three decades. 3 decades.
yeah.
And I did see the tears that was coming in your eyes also. I do see the pain that's in your face. That's why we're going to advocate on your part. We're going to be, first of all, getting in contact with the person who represents you in your councilmatic district. Then we're going to get to the senators, the congresspeople, the commissioners, and all of those. All of them are going to get a copy of this. Do you feel that politicians have your back in your community?
Do I feel that the who? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Do I feel who?
Do you feel that politicians have your back in your community?
As a whole for the Black community, I'm not so sure anymore because I see so many changes in West Tampa. It's not the same. It's so many changes. And I'm not saying all change is bad, but I don't feel like I don't feel like there's enough people representing us.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I agree with you. I agree with you. And I also say change is not good if it means you're gonna get put out your community. Change is good if it's only inclusive. Change is only good if the right people that live in West Tampa are uplifted and not gentrified out of their community. That's the change that we're looking at. And I can see the pain in your face as you talk. That's why I was trying to switch the conversation because I see that pain. And I want people to see your pain related to your current situation. In West Tampa CDC, we're going to be doing everything we can to make sure that you come back on the top line. Now, if we have to, we also will be going to the press. But we hoping we can deal with this in-house with the politician. If you get this video, and if you can help this lady in terms of providing her with the necessary assistance to save our house and put a roof on our house, tell them what your email is again.
it's Anubis, ANUB as in boy, IS 1616 at gmail.com. You know, it's when you're in a position such as myself, you look at everything, because we all know that where we are positioned is a prime area. So people can come in and they'll nitpick on one thing. And once that one thing is handled, they'll find something else. And that's what a lot of people are probably worried about. They'll find other things to pick at until they have what they want. And that's what's so sad about this. I may say the roof today, but they may come in and say, well, you got other things that need to be done. And I will look at them like, well, how am I supposed to fix all of that? I can't. And it's a scary situation. It really is. It's a scary situation to have
Let's
to
join us
worry
in the
about
video.
it. Oh, that's my
Who is this?
grandson. That's my
How old
grandson,
is he?
DJ. He's 11.
11?
Yes. Don't cry.
Okay. So really, it's not only about you, it's about your grandkids as well. It's
Yeah, they
about your
always
family as well.
don't cry.
Yeah, we're going to help her. Don't cry. Like he said, don't cry. You're
Yeah.
in the right place. You're definitely
Thank
in the
you.
right place. And we're going to turn those tears of pain into tears of joy. The next time we have you on here, we want you to shed tears, but these tears are going to be tears of joy. Anything
All
you
right.
want to say before we get out of here? Now, we did get a referral from you by way of Delphine Jones. Delphine Jones is the head of the neighborhood group in her area. So she's definitely advocating on your
Yes.
behalf as well. So we
Yes.
also would be fighting with the neighborhood groups. In fact, all the neighborhood groups in West Tampa is going to be getting a copy of this video, as well as all of the businesses that's in West Tampa. Again, we have close to a list of, I think, 1,200 emails that if we hit one button, it goes to everybody. In addition to that, we do have a presence on social media, Facebook, Instagram, X, and all of those are popular media outlets that we also will be posting this on that as well. The whole
Mm.
world is going to understand what your problem is, and I want you to understand that you're not alone. That
Why,
West
thank
Tampa
you.
CDC does have your back. Anything
Thank
else
you.
before we part?
I just want to say thank you very much for the time to let me come on and talk about what's happening in our neighborhood. I really, really appreciate any and everybody that's coming in to help. You don't know how good that makes me feel to have somebody here and understand what's happening within our neighborhood. Thank
Okay,
you.
and I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it in telling your story related to West Tampa. See, we have to have real people tell real stories so people can understand that people are being affected in West Tampa negatively, and we need to position ourselves to make sure nobody get left behind in West Tampa. So thank you, and we appreciate you joining us, and even your guests that came in. I keep telling you, don't cry. Thank you, and I appreciate you, and we'll be getting back in contact with you.
All right. Thank you.